Hello and a very warm welcome to Meghan and Harry News YouTube channel. Hi, I'm Alex. Prince Harry has been interviewed in a podcast in which he said his life as a royal growing up was a mix of being on the Truman Show and being in a zoo. He also said he wants to break the cycle of the pain and suffering of his upbringing with his own children, which has created a very severe backlash from the UK tabloids, as one would expect to see. Because we can't have anyone saying anything against the monarchy or the royal family. Oh no, that will just not do. I will take a look at that in a moment, but first let's look at this interview. It reads on Sky News. During an appearance on the Armchair Expert podcast, Prince Harry compared his life to a mixture of the film The Truman Show, in which the main character unwittingly lives his life on a TV show, and being in a zoo. He said, being born into the royal family, you inherit every element of it without choice, including that the UK media feel an ownership over you. Prince Harry told American actor and podcast co-host Dax Shepard, I don't think we should be pointing the finger or blaming anybody, but certainly when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on, basically. It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on, he said, adding that parents should be trying to stop that from happening. He said, I started to piece it together and go, okay, so this is where he went to school, this is what happened, I know this about his life, I also know that this is connected to his parents, so that means he's treated me the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my own kids? The Prince of Wales ignored questions from a BBC reporter about his son's remarks, which were put to him as he arrived at a royal engagement in Cardiff earlier. Harry also described going wild in his early 20s and partying, and outlined his inner monologue as he struggled with the responsibilities of being a member of the royal family. I don't want this job. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. Look what it did to my mum. How am I ever going to settle down and have a wife and family when I know that it's going to happen again? I've seen behind the curtain. I've seen the business model, I know how this operation runs and how it works. I don't want to be part of this, he said. I find it interesting, that last comment about seeing behind the curtain, the business model, which is essentially what is going on behind the scenes. And it's very clear he doesn't like what the business model is and how that model operates behind the scenes and wants no part of it at all. And so we now see the UK tabloids respond. Here is a response I didn't expect to see in the Daily Star. Prince Harry urged to help end monarchy after blasting royal family again. It reads here, anti-monarchist organisation Republic is urging the Duke of Sussex to help end the monarchy because his sentiments are democratic and Republican at heart. Chief Executive Graham Smith said, when he quotes Meghan saying, you don't need to be a princess, you can create the life that will be better than any princess, that's a democratic Republican statement. That's a call to bring the monarchy to a close. It's time we all moved on. For the sake of Harry and William's children and for the sake of British democracy, now is the time to decide to bring the curtain down on the whole show when the Queen's reign comes to an end. Republic's Mr. Smith added, he may not have reached that conclusion yet, but Harry's sentiments are democratic and Republican at heart. Another response is this one from 7 News. Prince Harry throws royal family under the bus in extraordinary new podcast interview. Now, you can't throw someone under the bus. You can throw them in front of the bus, and then the bus would run you over. But you would throw someone under the bus. It's a silly phrase and technically incorrect. This article, as you can see, is going for the overly dramatic angle. Prince Harry has been accused of throwing his family under the bus after sitting down for an extraordinary new interview. Prince Harry's explosive interview has been slammed by many, including royal commentator Robert Jobson, who accused the royal of throwing his family under the bus. Forgive me, but he's been a dad for how long? Perhaps he should pen a book on how to parent properly, drawing on his wealth of experience, for charity, of course, he wrote. Speaking to Sunrise, Jobson accused Harry of shameless behaviour. You've got to take some of it seriously because he believes it in himself. You know mental health is a big issue out there. But to keep harping on about this, it's getting embarrassing, he said. To not only criticise his father's parenting skills, but also the Queen and Prince Philip, who has only just had his funeral, I think it smacks of pretty shameful behaviour. Now, the problem with these royal experts is that they live in a fantasy world and comment on stuff they have no concept of. Isn't it weird that this so-called expert, Robert Jobson, who has probably spent zero time in the company of any member of the royal family, yet believe he knows better than Prince Harry, who is a member of that family? How can this man be allowed to comment and accuse Harry of lying about private family matters when he clearly has no involvement, when Harry is an actual member of that family who has actually been brought up and lived in that environment? What fools these experts are. And I also see Kate Garraway of Good Morning Britain taking over the role of the departed Piers Morgan, as can be seen in the Mirror. Kate Garraway slams entitled Prince Harry for devastating Prince Charles remarks. Kate Garraway slammed Prince Harry for his devastating remarks about his upbringing with Father Prince Charles, branding him entitled and without empathy. The same accusation can be levelled at this woman. She has no idea what goes on behind the curtain of the royal family. She has never been in that environment, so why does she believe she has any reason to have an opinion on it? It's really baffling, isn't it? She says, because we have had people say to us already, what does he mean about the cycle of pain? And of course we know pain is pain. It might be a different sort of it, but it's still difficult. Yes, Kate, he knows what he means when he says pain, but you don't know. But even though she has no idea what she is talking about, she says, he is telling his story, but it instantly sounds entitled. It sounds without empathy, doesn't he? Not really, but you, Kate Garraway, you sound without a brain. Thank you for listening to me, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.